The error messages are bad.
Oops.
What are you oopsing?
I smell burning hair, so I think I just like lit a piece of hair on fire.
Oh no.
You'll have to let me know when you edit this if you can see my hair catching on fire.
It'll end up in the video if you do.
Welcome to Straight Jacket Talk After Dark. It's the show where we're going to let you know what we've been up to, what have we been watching, listening to, reading, or gaming. I've been diving into the Valentine's movies. It's around Valentine's Day, right? So a little Valentine's horror. I had a nice little double feature. I watched Heart Eyes at the theater.
You'd be like heaven to touch.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy V-Day!
Get killed, all right. What was...
Why would he say that?
I took my son. We had a nice date together.
Cute.
I know. The theater was empty, so it was nice. And we saw Hard Eyes. I really loved it. I thought it was a great slasher movie, especially I love holiday themed slashers. So it was cool. I had a lot of fun. It is worth a watch because I think they do something different with this where they kind of blend a romantic comedy and a horror movie. And I thought the tone was really perfect. I've seen some people that are kind of like meh on it. And I get that, but I think it was done really well for me. I think the writing was really well and it delivered a lot of cool kills. It does the horror really good, I think, and the gore and everything like that. So does do like a Valentine's slasher really good. You know, obviously My Bloody Valentine, the original, is my favorite still, but I think this...
Yeah, don't say.
This might be a close second. It might be. My double feature was My Bloody Valentine.
I love fairy tales.
This ain't no fairy tale, little girl. If you don't take it seriously, you're a fool!
On Valentine's Day, everybody loses their heart.
Roses are red, violets are blue. One is dead, and so are you.
It can't be happening again.
1981.
Makes sense.
What's cool is I bought the 4K last year through Scream Factory. This is the one that they put all the lost or cut footage from the theatrical cut back into it.
You got all the gore in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an additional 9 minutes, which is a lot of screen time.
It looks like shit though, doesn't it? Not like the special effects. The film was degraded and because it wasn't used, right?
That's one of the issues that they've had, because there's bootleg copies for years. There's bootleg copies. I mean, you could find the cut footage on YouTube for a long time, and like you said, there was it was not the best footage, but because they put it on the 4K.
Oh, did they restore it?
They restored it. There's still little difference in it, but it's really good. I think it looks like it's part of it. If you weren't looking for it, you would never really know that it was.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't realize that they had done that.
It's awesome. I highly recommend it, especially if you've seen the theatrical one and you're kind of it was fun because I've heard a lot of podcasts this past week cover this movie and I love it, and I listen to all the podcasts and I love their takes on it even if I don't agree with them, but majority of them haven't seen this version. They've seen the theatrical cut, and they all kind of have the same complaint that the kills are cut away
without that gore.
Yeah,
that was part of my issue with it, to be honest with you. I haven't seen the version that you've got there either, so
I understand because I saw the theatrical one too. I can see people's issues, so I highly recommend it. Even if you like My Bloody Valentine and you're like, oh yeah, that was a good one. If you watch this one, it will blow your mind, the effects that they have. I'm going to have a little controversy here. It's better than the original Friday the 13th Savini effects.
Is that a controversy?
I think so.
The effects. Okay.
Yeah,
I
the
see
effects.
What you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
because people love Savini. You know, that one's a special one to them. I also want to show, because it was Valentine's Day, I did post this on the Mouths of Madness Instagram, but this past year we met Peter Cowper, who played Harry Warden in The Miner in the suit and everything. So I did show this on Instagram, but I want to show it here. I got him to sign the My Bloody Valentine poster. But what's cool,
awesome.
is he did the line from the movie. So it says, "Roses are red, violets are blue. One is dead, and so are you."
That's awesome.
I gotta say, he is such an awesome guy. He was like really friendly, took time with us. He had props, like we have a picture of us. He has the pickaxe. He has like a heart he makes you hold and stuff. And he he goes above and beyond. And
That's sweet.
That's awesome.
yeah. And like, I think he's so proud of that role. And it's cool now because it's starting to get noticed, I think, a little bit more.
Yeah. And he's never really had like, I think he only did one other movie. Yeah. So he hasn't had like, you know, a very extensive career.
Right.
Oh man, yeah. See, I didn't even know that. That's kind of cool. This is like his role, you know.
Yeah.
He caught a promo for the Mouths of Madness on my phone.
Everyone out there, I'm Peter Cowper from My Bloody Valentine, 1981, Miner, and Harry Warden and Stunts. I want you to hook onto these guys, Mouths of Madness.
And it was cool. Like, I didn't have to pay for it or anything. You know, some guys are like, oh, you know, everything you need to pay for.
That'll be $20, kid.
Right.
You know.
He was like,
He's
no,
just a
man.
happy guy.
Yeah. He was like, no. He was like, I'll do it. He was like, he saw us with stickers, right? And he's like, he's like, hey, those are your podcast stickers? He's like, I want some of those. I want some of those. So like, he
that's
grabbed them.
awesome.
Yeah, he was so cool. And like, I recommend if he's at any of these horror conventions coming up, go see him. You know, he's not going to have huge lines because he's not like, you know, Pinhead or anything like that. But
Right.
I think it's worth it, especially if you like My Bloody Valentine like me. All right, Jill, how about you? What have you been up to?
Well, I also saw Heart Eyes, and I don't think I liked it as much as you, but I really liked it. I thought it was clever. I thought it was funny. And I, too, love like holiday horror. So like Thanksgiving was really big. My Bloody Valentine also. Valentine, like the early 2000s Valentine slasher. So I was happy to see it. And you kind of likened it to Scream and My Bloody Valentine, which I totally agree with. And yeah, I thought it was just like a fun little movie. I watched The Lure.
Właściwie to są dzieci mojej dobrej znajomej.
Będą robiły u nas chórki i striptizy.
Musicie się tylko dobrze bawić, reszta pójdzie sama.
Zwrócić uwagę, zwróciłam wszystko. Szum, szum, szum samochodów i ulic. Zawrót głowy, zostajemy, nie ma mowy. Szum, szum, szum samochodów i ulic. Zawrót głowy, zostajemy, nie ma mowy.
It's, I think, a Polish horror movie about these two mermaid sisters who come ashore. They start working at a nightclub. It has like a lot of Eurovision like qualities. It's a musical also. I did not realize what I was getting myself into.
It's a horror musical, huh?
It's a horror musical, but
mermaids.
With Eurovision songs. Yeah. And they start like falling in love with men. And there's like this whole like kind of folklore thing where if, you know, he marries someone else, he'll turn into foam sort of thing. And, you know, there's jealousy between the sisters and killing people and men.
This sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's on, I think it's on Max.
It's on Max?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
That's going on my watch list.
Lure.
Do you recommend it though? You didn't say, if you liked it.
I think Nathan will enjoy it. It's a very particular taste.
I got
it. It was I liked it, but I wouldn't recommend everybody go watch it because not everyone's going to like that. I also watched.
That sounds like exactly the kind of movie I need to see.
Exactly. I know Nathan's going to like it, but like I wouldn't recommend it to many people, but Nathan is one of them.
Right?
I don't know. You're kind of a wild card, Kevin.
Yeah.
You might like it.
I am a wild card.
So maybe check it out. But I did watch the new movie. I think it's on Max. We Live in Time.
So sorry, but do we know each other?
Yeah, no. I ran you over. Sorry. What's the rush?
Because I'm worried. But there's a very distinct and real possibility that I am about to fall in love with you.
I'm okay. It's okay, honestly. It's okay not to be okay. It's a lot.
Just came out, has Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield. It made me cry. like a little baby. It's really sad. It was on like the Max like Valentine's Day movies, and I love Florence Pugh, so I had to watch it. It was sad, like very sad, kind of romantic.
It's A24 too, right?
Is it? I think so. Yeah, check it out. But be prepared for sadness.
Need some Kleenex with that one.
If you cry a lot, like me, when you watch stuff, you're going to cry.
And I was thinking about movies I cry in, and the first one always pops in my head is Armageddon. So I'm like...
You're thinking about Armageddon? Are you going to go watch it after this?
Oh my goodness. No, because I can't cry. I don't feel like crying. I need to be in my crying space.
I hear you. Another movie I watched was Cuckoo.
Please let me in right now! Please let me in!
I'm police investigator Henry Lando. I'd like to ask you a few questions about the incident.
I need you to help me find that woman.
When are we going to see some action?
That's the one with Hunter Schafer in it. Did you guys know anything about it? That came out
like wicked early last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that was getting some buzz. People liked it, but I didn't see it.
It was okay. I gave it 3 stars. I liked the beginning of it because it had this like really unsettling vibe to it, and it was actually really scary. In the third act, it kind of lost me, but I love Hunter Schafer from Euphoria. I love seeing them in anything. I also watched for the first time Night of the Living Dead.
Welcome to a night of total terror. Night of the Living Dead.
The original.
1968.
Yeah.
And I cannot stop thinking about it. I'm obsessed with it. I want to watch all of Romero's movies. Ooh. Like I've seen like Dawn of the Dead, but
diving in.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't seen Day of the Dead, and I'm really annoyed because Night of the Living Dead is on Max, but the other ones you have to like purchase them to watch them. So I'm gonna have to spend some money, I think. But yeah, it was really good.
It will be worth it, I think.
Yeah,
to go through.
I don't think I've seen the original Night of the Living Dead at all. I might have to, I'm not usually into zombie stuff, but I might have to, because it's like the original zombie flick. So I might have to check it out.
It's so good, and you can see where like so much of his work has infiltrated and is like echoed in zombie movies. Because for It Slays, we did our anniversary episode, our 6th anniversary, and we had a poll for people to choose or nominate and choose the pick for this episode, and it was 28 Days Later.
I'm one of those people, by the way, who chose 28 Days Later.
Did you?
I cast my vote. Yeah, I love
Nice.
I was pulling hard for something else, and now I can't remember what it was. And I believe it was the second choice that ended up losing in the end.
Videodrome or something.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
Yeah.
I was pulling hard for Videodrome.
Yeah, so was Mike. He was probably going to watch it anyways.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll pick it for another episode. But yeah, we watched 28 Days Later. I hadn't seen it in quite a few years. I think I've seen 28 Weeks Later more times than I've seen 28 Days Later. But I remember watching 28 Days Later like back when it came out. But yeah, I think it's been a while since I watched the original 28 Days. And with 28 years coming out later on this year, you know, it's good timing. And yeah, I've always liked 28 Days Later. Kind of has this like bleak, realistic British tone to it that I really like.
I think it might be my favorite zombie, or one of my favorite zombie movies.
Me too.
Quote unquote zombie movies, because it's not really zombies.
I would say it's a zombie movie.
It's a zombie movie.
Yeah.
The infected and zombies are the same thing. Exactly the same. No difference at all.
Right.
Absolutely.
I agree, for sure.
Another thing I watched was Your Monster. It was also advertised in the Valentine section of Max. It's another musical that's like Frankenstein kind of, but also kind of like Beauty and the Beast. So monster fucking, so it's like up my alley.
Oh, monster fucking.
And it has Melissa Barrera from Scream.
From Scream, yeah.
I love her. I think she's great in this. So yeah, it just came out in 2024. So if you're into something that's kind of campy and it's a musical, but it's still kind of this like dark gothic love story, check that out. One more thing I watched, The Substance.
Do you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself? Younger, more beautiful, more perfect. One single injection unlocks your DNA and will release another version of yourself. This is The Substance.
Oh, yeah.
Finally.
So good.
So I watched it right after we recorded last time. Like as soon as we finished up, I went and watched it, and it like changed my freaking brain chemistry. I can't stop thinking about it. It's so good.
It's in there.
It's so good.
Amazing.
Yeah, definitely my movie of 2024. 100%. It's so good.
It is incredible. I don't know. I can't stop thinking about it. I love body horror, and this one is like batshit body horror. Like it keeps going in places, and I was amazed. I was like, I can't believe Demi Moore signed up for this. This is fucking badass that she did this.
There's so many points where you think, oh, this is the ending everybody's talking about. Oh, this isn't it. And then by the time it gets to there, you're just going, what? Because it just keeps escalating and escalating.
Forget the name of the other actress, Margaret
Qualley.
Okay, I watched Maid when it came out on Netflix, and I was also like obsessed with that show. Have you guys seen that?
I haven't. I've heard of it though.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's also really dark because it's about domestic abuse and violence. But she's amazing in that show, and so I love seeing her in this role. Very different role for her. She's like so bubbly in The Substance.
Yeah,
and I don't know. It's so good. I love everything about it.
You think she'll win an Academy Award?
Demi Moore?
Yeah.
She fucking should.
She deserves it.
She deserves
100%
everything.
deserves it.
Nathan, you showed me that like a award speech.
Yeah, the Golden Globe speech.
That really resonated with me too. Just like her kind of thinking she's done and picking something up like this, and I think it's amazing.
Somebody told, oh, you're a popcorn actress, you can't do important films, and
fuck that.
Yeah, exactly.
Go girl.
Exactly.
I like how it's
and she looks amazing, by the way.
100%. It's kind of like art imitating life a little bit. I know that you know, the movie obviously is is crazy, but like it's the same concept though. Like she's trying to stay relevant and being told she's done and
I mean, that's probably why she was so good in the role, is she connected with it hard, you know.
It's funny because when I was watching it, I kept forgetting that it wasn't Courtney Cox. Did that happen with you guys at all? No? Okay. I was like,
sorry.
Courtney Cox. Oh, wait. Nope. Demi Moore.
Yeah.
I had Courtney Cox vibes when she was like doing the workout videos and stuff like that.
How many people even know that that was a thing that existed back in like the early 90s? Like all the moms were doing, what was it? Was it Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda, but Suzanne Summers
VHSs.
too. Yeah.
Oh, was she doing them?
Yeah. That was like our porn.
Yes. We didn't have the internet, so that was like
depraved.
Look at these attractive women. We were like 8, 9 years old when those things were popular.
I think I like exercise.
Yeah, exercise seems interesting.
You guys weren't exercising. Wow. Never mind.
Right.
Not conventionally. Anyway. One more thing. I did read a single book. I read Building a Life Worth Living by Marsha Linehan. So my therapist recommended this to me because I've been in therapy for 6 months doing DBT, or dialectical behavior therapy, which was designed for people with borderline personality disorder. And so it's a memoir of how her whole life she was kind of like in institutions and no one could really like figure out what was going on, and she was kind of neglected. And it shows how she became a psychologist, a therapist herself, and developed this therapy, which is a really successful therapy for people who are like deeply troubled and suicidal. And it's also cool because it talks about how she literally became a Zen master. Like she went to Buddhist temples and studied, and that's where a lot of the skills in DBT come from. So like mindfulness and like acceptance and stuff like that. Yeah, it's been a really interesting read, like reading about her life and seeing how, you know, in the academic world and also the clinical world, she kind of changed things. If you're interested in a memoir like that, check it out. But yeah, Nathan, what have you been up to?
So I subscribed to a streaming service called the Criterion Channel. If you're familiar with Criterion, they do boutique Blu-rays of like art house films and classic films. And the Criterion Channel is a smorgasbord of art house films and classic films. And when I logged into there, I saw, oh my God, there is so much Alfred Hitchcock in there. I'm going to enjoy the hell out of this. Basically anything made before 1970 is in a blind spot for me. There's very few films prior to that I've actually seen. But then I got an email from Criterion saying that all the Hitchcock was going to be gone on February 28th. And I realized, oh shit, I have to watch all of this now. So I have been binging Hitchcock films. I'm going to start with my least favorite to my favorite, although I have rated them all extremely highly. So the fact that North by Northwest was my least favorite of the 4 I watched shouldn't deter you from watching it.
Roger Thornhill, Manhattan Advertising Executive.
My name is Thornhill. Obviously, you're mistaken me for somebody else.
I'd like you to tell me how much you know. Simple yes or no. The least I can do is afford you the opportunity of surviving the evening.
A simple no. For the simple reason I simply don't know what you're talking about.
It is like a comedy action film, actually. People say it was like James Bond before James Bond. It came out in 1959. It stars Cary Grant. You know, if you know actors from that era. He's one of the ones
He's
you
up
know.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He plays an advertising executive who gets mistaken for an FBI agent by a group of Russian spies.
Oh, man.
And it becomes a game of cat and mouse between him and these Russian spies. He ends up becoming a reluctant hero who never asked to be a part of any of this. He just wanted to go to dinner, and he ended up getting kidnapped by Russian spies who thought he was an FBI agent. Also, he ends up getting framed for murder at one point, so the police are after him as well. And it's a lot of fun. It's not particularly deep or anything, but it's a whole hell of a lot of fun. It moves rather fast for a movie from 1959, which means it moves half as fast as a modern movie. But still, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. The next one I'm going to talk about is Vertigo.
A beautiful girl haunted by the desperate, unexplainable urge to destroy herself. A man possessed by the paralyzing vertigo that made him afraid of high places. What was the strange attraction that brought these two together, in spite of the dark forces that tore them apart? The specter from the past that drew her to the ancient headstone in the mission graveyard.
Probably his most famous film, maybe other than Psycho. It's about a former cop who is afraid of heights because he had a bad experience where somebody was trying to save him. The person who trying to save him from falling off a building ended up falling off a building himself.
Yikes.
Yeah. It's really hard to explain the plot of Vertigo in a succinct manner without spoilers. A man hires him to follow his wife, who he thinks is possessed by a dead woman who committed suicide, and he's afraid that his wife is going to commit suicide because she's possessed by this dead woman who committed suicide. As he's following this woman, he becomes obsessed with her. It moves very, very slow. The first hour should probably be the first 40 minutes. Vertigo would be my favorite movie of these four if it weren't for the fact that the first hour is so slow. You can see the influence this movie has on a whole bunch of other movies, though. There's a lot of Vertigo in Suspiria, for instance. This movie makes use of colored lights, and it has one of the best dream sequences I've seen in a movie ever, and I love it so much. It's really a highly cerebral, sort of surreal experience. It's really beautifully made, and it's also a pulpy noir on top of that. I highly recommend it. And like I said, it would be at the top of my list if it weren't for the fact that first hour is so fucking slow.
Yeah.
You know what you're getting into when you're watching a movie from 1958 when it comes to pace.
Yeah.
But in this case, I couldn't let it not affect my enjoyment of the movie. The next one I watched is Rear Window.
This is the scene of the crime. A crime of passion, filmed in a way you have never seen before. This is the apartment of a man named Jeffries. Right now, his world has shrunk down to the size of this window. He's been watching the people across the way. He knows a lot about them by now. Too much, perhaps.
I think everybody knows the basic plot, too. A man's got a broken leg, and he spies on his neighbors out the window. He thinks that one of his neighbors may have committed murder. So it's kind of a cool little murder mystery. But the really cool thing about Rear Window, and what makes me love it so much, is that it's not just that he spies on his neighbors. It's like they built this little world in his backyard, basically, where there's all these side characters who have their own little stories, and it all looks sort of like a set of a play, like a Broadway play or something like that. And he's got like names for these people he's never met. Like there's this one woman who likes to dance in her underwear in the window, and he calls her Miss Torso. There's this one lady who drinks herself to sleep every night because she's sad and lonely, and he calls her Miss Lonely Heart. It's kind of funny. Like all these characters have their own little story, and it's so much fun, and it's so cool. Like Vertigo, it stars Jimmy Stewart, who is incredible in everything he does. I've now found that out. I just always thought he was incredible in It's a Wonderful Life because it was the only movie with him that I had seen before I went on this Hitchcock binge.
Him and Cary Grant are like, you know, the actors of
they're the
that
two
time.
that, if you know actors from that era, you know that you know those two. Came out in 1954. It's incredible. I love it, and I highly recommend it to everyone. Now, my favorite movie of the four I watched is Rope.
I don't.
5.
That's the last time she ever saw him alive. And that's the last time you'll ever see him alive. What happened to David Kentley changed my life completely, and the lives of 7 others. Janet Walker, Henry Kentley, the boy's father, the 2 who were responsible for everything. Brandon Shaw and Philip Morgan.
Came out in 1948. It's a much lesser known one. I had never heard it before I just clicked on it on the Criterion channel. It also stars Jimmy Stewart. It is about 2 men who commit a murder just for the fun of it. That's the opening shot of the movie is them killing a man. And they put him in a trunk in their living room, and then they throw a dinner party with the man
goodness.
in the trunk, and they serve the food off the trunk.
Oh my goodness.
And it is incredible. It's all done in like one long take, or it's faked because you couldn't fit more than 10 minutes of film in a camera back then. And so the camera is constantly moving, and it's showing you things while these conversations at the dinner party are happening. The dinner party has been designed to be the most dramatic one possible. The guest list includes like the victim's girlfriend, the victim's parents, as well as the ex-boyfriend of the victim's girlfriend. The 2 killers are about as gay as it gets from a movie made from 1948. I was watching it and I was like, am I picking up on something here? Is that my imagination?
Brandon, how did you feel? When? During it? Tremendously exhilarated. How did you feel?
And then after I was done watching it, I looked up some stuff about the film, and it turns out, no, that's not my imagination at all. Those 2 actors are gay, and the writer of the movie was having an affair with one of those 2 actors during the making of this movie.
Scandalous.
Yeah, it was super scandalous for the time in 1948. And apparently it's also part of why it bombed, because it was heavily censored. A lot of theaters refused to show it, apparently. They said they thought they were hiding it better than they were. I picked up on it within the first 3 minutes. If you don't see it, your gaydar doesn't exist if you don't see it within the first 10 minutes, to be honest with you. It's one of my new favorite movies of all time, I think.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and super underrated. Jimmy Stewart plays like a guy who is like a detective. He's not really a detective, but he sort of becomes the detective because they're acting weird. One of the killers is just a straight up psychopath and is happy and is talking about how happy he is that they killed this guy for the fun of it. And the other is like not so sure. And so he's kind of breaking down a little bit. And all the characters are great and funny, and this fashion is from 1948, and it is so interesting to look at, and it's really cool looking. It's almost like you feel like you want to go back to that kind of fashion, and then you realize how much work it would be and how much it would suck for us all to wear suits all the damn time for no reason.
We need dinner parties.
Oh yeah. But I highly recommend Rope to anyone who hasn't seen it. Check that one out. It's only 1 hour and 20 minutes long. It moves faster than other movies you'd expect from that era. So
Is that it? We're good?
That's everything. Sorry,
All right.
I probably should have said something about
No,
that.
no, that's cool. I like your Hitchcock recommendations there. That's awesome, because I definitely want to check out more Hitchcock myself after we reviewed Psycho for the Mouths of Madness. I really love Psycho, so
Psycho's really good.
Yeah. So I'm into checking more Hitchcock out. So definitely some good recommendations. Rope is at the top of my list.
Yeah.
It's at the top of my rope.
It's really good. Yeah.
Well, that does it for our episode on the After Dark. We'll be back soon with another episode. But until then, back to the padded room with you.